Recent years have seen no shortage of remakes for various classic titles. The best ones completely reimagine or noticeably improve what was already great. Pokémon Brilliant Diamond does neither of these things. The full-priced remake offers little in the way of new features and feels woefully pedestrian. It is, for better and worse, just another Pokémon release without much to separate it from what's come before. Thankfully, it's partially saved by a challenging conclusion and an abundance of post-game activities. The most obvious changes come with the new visuals, which have their ups and downs. The chibi style is reminiscent of the original games and classic Pokémon, so the look is certainly nostalgic. There's also a general pleasantness throughout. For the most part, characters are upbeat and positive about Pokémon, and their enthusiasm is only amplified by the cute aesthetic. However, the chibi style also weirdly waters down individual personalities. Since everyone looks so similar, it's hard for a single person to stand out. Even major characters just kind of blend in. The look isn't done any favors up close either, where it's really easy to see just how generic any one face is. At least the music is great, which is especially important considering how often you hear some of it. A lot of the soundtrack matches the jubilant vibe of the rest of the game, but there is variety, such as the sparse yet striking music of Snowpoint City. In terms of narrative, there's almost nothing to latch onto. If you've ever played Pokémon before, you know what to expect. You leave home, help a professor with the Pokédex, challenge gym leaders, compete with a rival, and stop an evil team's schemes. There's very little to care about, even if you want to. Brilliant Diamond does have some interesting historical tidbits, but it doesn't delve into them deeply enough to make them truly special. It's the kind of game where you feel as though you could skip dialogue and not miss anything of significance. Team Galactic is painfully dull, with stereotypical motivations and a lack of personality. Meanwhile, possibly interesting characters like Cynthia aren't given enough time to reach their full potential. There are moments when experience with previous Pokémon games can make it feel as though you've played Diamond and Pearl several times over, even if this is your first run with the pair. The same sentiment applies to the gameplay as well, which for the most part feels as though you can sleep through it. There's almost no resistance at all, meaning there's little consequence to the choices you make about which Pokémon to bring into battle and how to raise them. The situation is exacerbated by an overly generous experience share mechanic, allowing you to easily get a leveled up team with practically no effort. Confusingly, the game doesn't even allow you to turn off experience share if you want the extra challenge. Trainers throw out multiple copies of the same weak Pokémon, and many of the gym leaders will crumble about as easily as a sandcastle. It's not that Pokémon needs to be extremely difficult, but rather that the battle system at its best is so brilliant that it's truly a shame so much of the game doesn't even attempt to explore those more fascinating depths. There also isn't a convenient way to battle random people online. The room system currently in place is lackluster and inconsistent in regards to actually getting matched up with others. Eventually, toward the end, things start to ramp up. The puzzle nature of the Snowpoint City Gym and Sunny Shore City Gym make them a little more memorable. However, it's the Elite Four battles where things truly kick into high gear. The Gauntlet is a much-needed change of pace, where mechanics like held items, healing, and interesting type compositions come into play. Finally, you have to actually try during fights to earn your way forward. They're easily some of the most memorable confrontations in the entire game, which is exactly how it should feel, considering they're meant as the ultimate challenge within the context of the world. After conquering the Elite Four and putting in more than 40 hours of playtime, there's still what feels like an entire game's worth of content to dig into. Immediately, you can take on the Battle Tower. These fights are appropriately more difficult and more engaging than a lot of what you find in the main game. To access much of the other post-game content, you must first obtain the National Pokédex, which requires you to first see all 151 Pokémon that make up the Sinnoh Pokédex. Brilliant Diamond actually pushing you to go out into the world to see as many Pokémon as possible is a wonderfully appreciated touch, since hunting after these incredible creatures is one of the best aspects of the series. Because you only have to see each Pokémon, not necessarily capture them, the assignment still takes effort without becoming unbearably tedious. Upon getting the National Dex, you can journey through a mysterious cave and delve into a mountain in search of legendary Pokémon. You can re-challenge gym leaders who come with brand new and more difficult lineups of Pokémon. Plus, you unlock Ramanas Park, where you can cash in on rare gems to acquire tablets that allow you to catch legendary Pokémon from previous games. And getting these gems utilizes what is arguably the best aspect of Brilliant Diamond, the Grand Underground. Here you can dig up all sorts of different treasure through a simple, yet oddly satisfying digging minigame. There are more open areas in the Grand Underground where Pokémon visibly wander around, available for you to battle and catch. The strength of Pokémon in the Grand Underground levels up throughout the course of the game, making it a great place to train. Players can also create and decorate their own secret bases, placing statues that change the type of Pokémon you'll encounter. Considering you never know exactly what you're going to find in terms of treasure and Pokémon, the Grand Underground feels like it perfectly elaborates on the addictive collectathon frenzy that's the soul of the series. There are numerous worthwhile aspects of Brilliant Diamond to dig into, but it's infuriating that you essentially have to trudge through an entire game to even gain access to so many of them. It's an absurdly high barrier to clear, one made even less palatable by the full retail price. The game is ultimately a giant missed opportunity. Instead of looking critically at Pokémon, Brilliant Diamond plays it as safe as it possibly can. The remake perfectly encapsulates all the good and bad of the series. There is something remarkable to enjoy, but you have to work through too much nonsense to get there. Final score, 6.5 out of 10. Want to get more of our thoughts on games beyond reviews? Check out our Frame Trap podcast every other week with deep dive discussions on games we're currently playing, including Pokémon. Everything we do is made possible by generous viewers just like you. Check out patreon.com/easyallies to help us make more. For just $1 a month, you can gain access to weekly updates, spoiler discussions, and exclusive shows.